guys, welcome back out to the channel. Kyle here with Culture Redneck Garage. Hey, I want to talk a little bit tonight, especially to my No Name Nationals buddies. So I want to talk tonight about No Name Nationals 2024. I wanted to tell you that I am registered and signed up and ready to go on the rolls for No Name Nationals 2024 at Sikeston, Missouri in September. And I am very excited about doing it. It's going to be a blast. I have, in fact, actually been to the No Name Nationals both years that we've had it so far in 2022 as well as last year in 2023. Now, in particular, this last year, I sat there on the bleachers watching all of you wonderful athletes in your cars going down the strip, and you were having a great time. And I thought to myself that it is high time that I join in on the fun. And so that is my intention, is to go down the track at Sikeston, Missouri in September and have a good time doing it. But in what, you might ask? Well, I'll tell you what I would love to go down that track, and I will in the future, no doubt. But as I sat there, I kept daydreaming about sending my little rail dragster down there that I've been kind of piddling with here the last few years. And I certainly will, but there's no way I could make that all happen, I don't think, this year, because to do that, I would have to like strip away all other projects, and I just have a busy life outside the garage anyway. And this girl here would be neglected, and I have actually started working on it again. So we're not going to do that. So the game plan is to do something and maybe make little improvements here and there that are very reasonable. It will not take my time away from things that I really want to get going. So those of you that follow my channel, and if you don't, go check out my channel, but I've got a little, I call it the Smurf Mobile. It's a little blue sandrail that I pedal with and have had for years, and I drive around. And I've even taken it to the dirt drags quite a few times in this past. I think it would be really fun for Sikeston, Missouri to get something air-cooled in there. So I'm bringing my blue sandrail. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, that sandrail is no road rocket. In fact, I never built it to be. When I got that years ago and I built the engine, I basically was looking for something that I could just sort of put down the gravel roads in, play in the sand, and occasionally go to the local dirt drags. Now, locally, there were really only two classes when it came to air-cooled stuff. You had your stock class and you had your modified class. Well, there was no way I was going to get to run with the modified guys because, I mean, when I say that they're bad, they're bad. They got some good equipment. So what I did was I built my little motor sort of in the stock rules and around that, so it wasn't super quick. Basically, all I've got at the moment, and by the way, this is not my engine that's off the buggy. This is just essentially a visual representation of that we could talk over. In fact, the heads are just slid on here, and the carbs and all that stuff too. But the Smurf Mobile, the engine I have on there currently has little 87 millimeter pistons. It's got a cam in it and no head work. It does have dual single barrel carburetors, which was a upgrade from stock, and a light and flywheel. So it's nothing super fast or fancy or big. If I was gonna, draw you an analogy for some of you Mopar guys, that engine is basically like taking a 318, throwing a cam in it, sticking maybe a 4-barrel Edelbrock intake on it and a 4-barrel carb of some sorts, be it Edelbrock or Holly or whatever, and some headers. Definitely makes it run a lot better and sound good, and it is quicker than the old 2-barrel setup and the old cast manifolds, but still ain't gonna win a ton of drag races, So that's what that was. Now, as it sits, I could go and take it down the track today and have a great time. But I would like to make some improvements that I've wanted to over time. Mostly with these little babies here. Now, I just said I have dual single barrel carbs. I think it's time to step up my game and get into dual Weber IDF carbs. I've had these carbs for probably close to 20 years. In fact, I received a garbage can full of VW parts. That's the good thing about being in this hobby. When somebody gets out of it, they're like, take this, I don't want it. Well, in that trash can was a lot of junk, basically, that couldn't be used. But in the bottom, I don't even know if they meant it to be in there, there was these Weber IDFs. And by the way, these are Italian Weber IDF carbs. They no longer make these in Italy. They ceased that sort of early 90s or whatever, and then they moved production to Spain. Now you see some of the kind of the Chinese clone versions of that, but a lot of people desire the Italian ones. Well, these guys, when I got them years ago, they were in that bottom of that barrel. The butterflies were stuck, couldn't hardly move them, had dirt and crap and sand just in all the little parts and pieces, and there's a lot of them in there. And I thought, well, there's no way I can ever get these fixed. But I cleaned out as best I could with what I had, got the throttle shafts turning again barely, and I thought, well, one of these days if I have a little bit bigger engine, I'll try to work it out. And I still don't have a bigger engine, but and these carbs are kind of slightly over carb for what I got at the moment, but I can actually stick a little bit smaller Venturis than what's in there, in this guy in there, and rejet it and make it should work really nicely. So I would like to at least experiment with these. We'll see what happens. If I don't like it, I'll go back to my single barrels. But I think I'm going to love it if I understand correctly how these things work. So there's that. I've got to make a couple decisions. But one thing that I didn't do because I was working within stock classifications, just I want to make sure I was, not cheating or anything, is I didn't do any head work. Now, with a smaller engine, stock valve sizes are fine, but the heads on Volkswagens are atrocious, and you can actually improve a lot just by porting these. That doesn't cost us a penny. So one thing I didn't do was port that, and I'm going to do that this go around. I think it would really help. And secondly, one thing I didn't do, and this is because, first of all, I was naive about it at the time, but once again, I was trying to stay in stock compression ratio, but the cam I currently have in there really comes alive when I bump up the compression a little bit. So I would like to port those and bump up the compression while I'm at it. Now, I got to make a decision. Do I stick with my 87s? Or do I spend a little extra cash and get me some 88s, some thick wall 88s? It opens up the window for, maybe a stroker build in the future that I want to do. So I don't want to spend much money on this project because any money that I spend on this is taken away from paint supplies for this and what is left on the little rail dragster. So I'm wanting to stay cheap. Like I said, a lot of this I'm not even gonna have to spend a dime on, other than a little master rebuild kit for these and services to bump up the compression. So I may get me some bigger pistons. I think I will like myself if I do that, but we'll play that by ear. So there's that, and we'll need to make definitely a few improvements here and there, I'm sure, on the for the safety on the tech side. Mainly, I'm thinking braided steel lines and solid lines for the fuel. I think that way that would make them happy. A few other things here and there that I know. One thing we'll have to do right now, I currently have some 31 1050 tires on the back, which is fine when you stay in first and second gear riding down the country roads, and not a problem. But going down a drag strip, that's just not going to cut it. Even though I do have some slicks, I'm gonna go with some street tires. Probably get me something kind of in the 27-inch height range. That would probably help third gear from not being such a dog, because Volkswagens were not geared for drag racing as they are, especially a naturally aspirated Volkswagen. So we will get us some a little bit shorter street tires on there to help us out with that. So anyways, that's, I don't know if I'm forgetting nothing or not, but that's pretty much it, guys. I am excited. I can't wait to race with you all. It's going to be a challenge because I'm rowing the old 4-speed on a stick shift. So I'm going to have my A game on. You know what? I've never even raced on an asphalt strip. So this will be all new for me. But I just thought it'd be good to get an air-cooled engine out there, regardless of how little horsepower it would have. It'd be nice if I could get 90, 95 horse out of what I'm wanting to do, maybe. These things only came out of the factory with 50 and 60 horsepower. So, I mean, that's a good improvement. You got to really spend some money on bigger pistons and really wild cams and excellent heads, far better than the old stock ones to get that. So we won't go that far right now. But no, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun. And so I wish I was showing you the buggy and we'd walk around and talk about it, but you know, maybe in the future. Every Saturday and Sunday that I've gotten here since Christmas, and since I decided to come back to No Name, it's just been rainy or icy or cold or all three. It just hadn't been too good for YouTube videoing. So anyways, we'll get to that in the future. This will be fun. I'm looking forward to this. I'm really looking forward to doing these carbs because it's, I'm getting ready to, so as soon as I get my kit in, I'm going to soda blast these. I've taken most of it all apart, except for the throttle shafts, which I want to leave in there because there's too many parts. I just wanted it to all be there before I get to soda blasting it. And we're going to get them cleaned up. We're going to get them running like they used to back in the 80s. So anyways, look forward to seeing y'all there, and keep up with me, and I'll be doing some stuff here and there on it. I've been doing some sheet metal cutting and hopefully some welding before long back on this guy, but this is really my main push. I've got to get this thing on the road. I'm tired of it sitting here derelict. So anyways, we can do it all, I think, as long as we don't get too crazy with our time. So anyways, until next video, guys, we will see ya.